Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. What's going on, K Walk and Jay?
All's well, all's well. Looking forward to another great one.
Yeah, everything's good. Another great week. Good topics tonight. So I think it's going to be a fun show.
I don't know how to take that, Jay, but we'll see what happens later on. Feel like some ulterior motive going
No,
on
Britt,
here.
you know me. I never have anything up my sleeve.
No, I do know you. That's what I'm saying. That no. But yes, it's a lot going on. A lot going on. For those who are watching, please like, subscribe to us on YouTube. Um, please share. We would greatly appreciate it. We're slowly but surely creeping up to 250 subscribers. Oh, also, we now have a Twitter account at the Sideline Speaks, so we are actively on there as well. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. So a lot going on here, guys. A lot going on. A lot going on. I'm trying to remember everything. But you guys ready to talk some sports?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's jump right into this. Okay, guys. So last week I wanted to get into some NBA awards. We didn't have it a lot of time last week, and I remember I said we'll talk about it this week.
Yeah.
But season is almost over, so now this is the time where people talk about MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year. So hopefully y'all still had your notes from last week. It may have changed a little bit, may have not. I'm not exactly sure. But the first one we're going to discuss is as of right now, and I'm gonna use Stephen A. Smith's reference, guys. It's fluent. It's fluent. It can absolutely change between now and to the end of the season. Your rookie of the year. K-Walk, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
Yeah, I have two here. I have, well, actually, no, I have three, man. I have three. I'm going to go in order here. I'm going to go 3-1 here. I got Walker Kessler from the Jazz. Tall guy, man, there is doing great things there. Mostly on the boards and mostly on the defensive end as well, because he's 8.4 rebounds a game, 2.3 blocks a game. So I put him at number three. Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got him at 13.5 points a game right now, 4.5 rebounds. But my guy right now is the young kid out of from the Magic from Duke, and the number one overall pick is Pablo Banchero. There, he's averaging 20 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. So I'm going to go with Pablo here as as my rookie of the year.
Yeah, for me, it's easy in my mind. I'm going with Paulo Banchero as well from the Magic. I love his game. He's big. He can move, and then he does everything else. You know, he can rebound. He can assist. And he shoots the ball fairly well. And actually, when he played against my Sixers, he actually has very good defense, surprisingly. I didn't think he was that good on defense, but he could play defense very well.
Yeah.
And you guys know how I feel about my two-way players. I'm big on two-way players. So, but Jay, who's your rookie of the year?
Yeah, no, this is the rare time that we all agree. We're seeing it the same way here. I got Benchero as well.
Oh,
No, I mean for everything you guys said, and plus, like coming out, he looked the most NBA ready to
Mhm.
me. He had an NBA body. Obviously, played at Duke, got some excellent coaching there, so he just felt like he was the most NBA ready guy, and he's kind of proved that on the floor every single night. And to your point too, Britt, I love the fact that he does look like he's going to be a guy that plays both ends. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely, I got Benchero right now as well.
Come on, Ben Cheryl, let's pull this out. All right, we're gonna go with the next one. This is the most discussed one out of everything, all of these awards. They just discussed it yesterday because Joel Embiid did not play for whatever reason. I know, but whatever reason y'all think so. You're MVP. Okay, Jay, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
This is a tough one, Britt. I've changed my mind a few times on this. I think I had the Joker last time we talked about it. And
Mhm.
then Embiid, start going crazy. I changed my mind to Embiid. Then he sits out. It's like, man, it's going back and forth. But I think for me right now, I'm going to try to stay consistent, even though that's not something I do that often. Um, And I'm going to stick with Embiid here now, Britt. I just think, when you look at it over the course of a season, what he's been able to do, his dominance. I just think Embiid is that guy this year. There was a couple of years, the last couple of years that he probably could have won it and did not. So I just really feel like it's his award to lose right now. So I'm going to give Embiid the slight edge.
I think Joker calling the that was
like, hey, what's going on
never
here?
Seen that alert pop up before, so I don't know what that was.
Sorry, for me, it's always been between Giannis or Embiid. I think for some reason people are forgetting about Giannis, and Giannis has been consistent as well, and he's always been a dominant force when he plays for the most part. Outside of the so many games, I know he sat out for a little bit there. But for me, I also have to go with Joel Embiid. When he plays the game, he is pure dominance. Look, the team may not necessarily win every game, but Joel Embiid's going to show up in every game, even games when he struggles. It's been the last couple games. He's had a calf situation going on. At times, he's been limping, trying to fight through it. He struggles in the first half, and all of a sudden he turns it back on in the second half. Like, wait a minute, I got to get to the free throw line. I got to make easy shots for myself. And sometimes he just looks like a guard out there, making spin moves, slamming. I'm just like, what is going on here? So, and mind you, he's 7'2" or 7'1", 280 pounds. Like, so the way he moves should not happen for somebody that big. His footwork is incredible. And then I always say it, defense. He plays defense big time. Big time. He's a huge difference maker on the defensive side of the ball, and he'll help to change the course of the game when he plays defense. So for me, it's Joel.
Yeah, okay? And I know, K-Walk, you got to jump in. But Britt, I do want to say, I think that's a great point, because sometimes I think as fans, as spectators, people just get used to seeing these guys do athletic things. But to be the size that he is and the height that he is, and to have the footwork and the way that he moves, like, it really is a freak of nature. Like, we get used to seeing it because he makes it look easy. But I do think that's an outstanding point, that just his ability to move at that size and at that weight. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys that have moved like that at his size before. So, I mean, it is something that we need to point out, just because I think people just get used to seeing it and it doesn't look spectacular when it really is a freak of nature.
Right. When he does that little Euro step for somebody his size.
Yeah.
What is going on?
It's crazy.
But K-Walk, who's your MVP?
I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler here, man. Jimmy Butler, not just guys. Yeah, you know what? I have three guys here, man, and Joel Embiid's been the guy for me the entire season. I mean, I just think that it should have been him last year as well, in my opinion. And a lot of people think that, because I don't like the Sixers, or I don't like the Philly fans, or I don't like Philly,
we don't
just
like
the teams
either.
in general. I like Joel Embiid. What's that? What'd you say?
Nothing. Keep going.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. So, so yeah, Joel Embiid is my guy, man. He is my guy. A lot of people saying that he lost some points because of what he did last night, or what he didn't do last night, I should say. But everything you guys said about Joel Embiid is what it is. Joker went out last night, and he put a little. He gained some ground, in my opinion, by going out there and putting up another triple double, which he's averaging throughout the season. So it's hard to beat a guy like that, for sure. He's consistent, man. He's consistently being that guy. A triple double for a guy that size. Wow. Joker is no joke. But Embiid is still my guy, because I think he can do it on both ends of the court. I don't think Jokers can do that. I watched the game a little bit last night, and I saw Tyrese Maxey break him down a little bit, and he had no idea what to do. So yeah, I think Joel Embiid could have handled that a little better. So, but right now I'm going to go with Joel Embiid as my MVP. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And I think the key with me last night is it was for the most part, it was a decent game till about the third quarter. I think Denver really took a big lead, but the fact that the Sixers almost came back without a James Harden, without a Joel Embiid, and I think they were missing one other person. That's where I was like, okay, the Sixers lost, but if they would have could finish that comeback, the Denver Nuggets would have been looked at differently. But thank goodness, I guess the good thing for them is they were able to keep that victory. All right,
But hey,
guys.
Britt, real quick, do you think the voters are going to hold it against Joel though that he didn't play? Like we're getting down to crunch time. You know how these voters are. Do you see them holding anything against him right now?
I feel like they want to hold any and everything against Joel Embiid, and they've been doing that for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He says something, and they take it out of context. Look, if they do, they do. I think at this point in his career, he's trying to look onto bigger and better things at this time. Um, he would like. I'm pretty sure he would like the MVP. That's one of the players' goal.
Yeah.
But I think at this point in his career, he's like, I'm a big man. I may have another 4 years, good 4 years left. Let's focus on other things. So I don't think he's worried about it anymore. And if you know basketball, then you know who the MVP is. If you're all on analytics side, which a lot of these voters are nowadays, then you know most likely who they're going to choose. So it could go either way.
Yeah.
But for those out there, don't forget about Giannis. Giannis is quietly, and I don't know how y'all saying he became quiet in the MVP voting, but he's quietly up there too. So, all right, guys, let's move on to your MIP, most improved player of the year. K-Walk, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
I have three here. I'm not going to go through all of them for time reasons. But I got my number one guy is Jalen Brunson from the Knicks. I know he was at the Mavericks last year, but but the thing about him, it's going to be hard for him to win because he doesn't stay healthy. It seems like he's always out. He was my pick when you first presented this question, but the more research I did on this, I'm going to kind of reserve my judgment there. So with that being said, I'm gonna go with Jordan Poole from Golden State.
Okay.
Really, I like Jordan Poole. What he's done, how he stepped up his game in the absence of Steph Curry and Clay when they were out in the majority of the season, especially Steph Curry who missed those games with that knee injury. So I want to say Jalen Brunson, but I think like you mentioned, Britt, you kind of alluded to. The analytics there, him missing games is going to hurt him, no pun intended. So I'm going to go with Jordan Poole there. Jordan Poole.
Yeah, Jordan Poole's a good one. He's an amazing shooter. Like you said, stepped in very well when Steph Curry, Steph. I always get them confused. Steph, You know which Curry brother I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Stepped in and played well when he was out for a while because he was out for a long time. So I like Jordan Poole. I'm glad him and Draymond got over that a little bit. Not to bring up the past, but Jay, who's your MIP?
Yeah, no, Jordan Poole's a good call. There's something about him though. I don't know. There's something about him that just rubs me the wrong way. And I don't like. A lot of guys I just NBA, don't like him for some reason. Not that he's ever done anything, but just there's something about him that I don't like. But
he didn't fight back. He didn't
fight
back against Draymond.
That might be it. K-Walk. I don't know. I went with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on this one. I know he's been a good player in the past, but this year he's increased his scoring average by quite a bit. Britt, you said you like guys that play both ends. This guy is a long, lean guy that can do it on both ends of the floor. I really think he's done an outstanding job. So I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as my MIP.
I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of OKC. That's my guy. I love him. I love the way he plays, and he could shoot the ball. And his effort is endless. He's a hustler. He's the star, and he hustles. So I think he's a good young leader. And he was on my one. He was one of my picks as well. But I'm surprised nobody said this guy from the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah,
man, has he been going crazy this year? Averaging 25 points per game, eight rebounds, a little bit over assists, 1 assist. But he's been shooting over 50% from the field. He's a leader with that young Jazz team. Every game I have seen him in, he's scoring at least 20 to 25 points. I've seen a couple where he was in the 30s, and to be so young. And like we said, he's another big guy that moves so well, primarily on the offensive side of the ball. But then the other guy, since K-Walk mentioned too, I'll mention this guy, just giving props. Nick Claxton out of Brooklyn. His
Yeah.
development from last year to this year has been amazing as well, and he's been a big force on the defensive side for them, even to this day. But then got his scoring average up as well, which is very
Yeah.
important for that young team, young team to continue to grow. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
so since you guys brought up, I just want to bring another guy up here I had on my list. Is Anthony Edwards from Minnesota
Yeah.
as well, 21.3 points a game as well. So
Yeah.
let's not throw any shade at him or leave him out of the conversation for sure.
No, I'll leave him out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Your sixth man of the year. Your sixth man of the year. Jay, I'm coming to you first.
Yeah, I'm going to Boston for this one. Malcolm Brogdon. I feel like this guy, I feel like he's probably the front runner on most people's list right now. Really steady player, can hit the open three if he needs to. Effort guy, hustles. I really like Brogdon and what he brings to that Celtics team. And when you think about it, like everything that they went through with their coach and everything like that to still be in the position that they're in, it takes guys like Brogdon to kind of be a glue guy and kind of hold things together. So he's my sixth man for sure.
Yeah, for me, I went the same direction as you, Jay. Malcolm Brogdon. I don't know if y'all remember. I told y'all how good of a pickup that was prior to the beginning of the season when they went and got him. I love Malcolm Brogdon. He's a great point guard in my opinion. He can shoot the ball. He plays well on the defensive side, and a sneaky good 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
So like he'll get you on that 3-pointer if you leave him open. So I like him as well. K-Walk, who's your sixth man of the year?
I didn't think about him, to be honest with you guys, because the fact of the matter is I don't follow Boston that much, but I forgot about him. But yeah, that's a good pick, guys. That's a really good pick. But I have two guys here. As much as I don't like his demeanor on the court, he still balls, and that's Emmanuel quickly out of from New York, Knickerbockers. I love what he could do. He can do it from the inside, the outside. He's that annoying guy that you would love him if he's on your team, and you would hate him if he wasn't on your team. So I went with him. But I think the guy that a lot of people aren't talking about, and he could fill in as a starter, he could fill in a six man. That's your guy, Britt. That's Tyrese Maxey, man. I really love what he did last night. Was it last night? Yeah, last night when when Embiid went out, or when I went out, but he didn't play and Harden didn't play. He stepped up and kept those guys in the game, meaning the Sixers in that game. They ultimately lost, unfortunately, but nonetheless, I think you could put him. He's a serious candidate for the Sixth Man of the Year award.
Yeah, the only thing about that, because I was thinking of Tyrese Maxey, I just don't know if he'll completely qualify because he was a sixth man only for a short period of time. The majority of the season, he was a starter, and now he's right back into that starting role. So that's the only reason why I didn't, because I thought about it. I really thought about it, but I was like, I don't know if they'll allow him to qualify.
But why wasn't he? Why was he a starter though?
Why wasn't he a starter?
No, why was he a starter? Because of injury, right? Is that correct? Or
No. He was a starter from the beginning of the season. He was a starter all season long. Then he got hurt. And when he came back,
he got hurt.
Coach. Yeah, he went to the coach and said, hey, our bench was struggling at the time. He said, if you need me to be the guy coming off the bench, I can do that, which I love that about him. So they tried him on the bench.
And that's the reason why the attitude.
Yeah. And they tried him. They tried him on the bench for a while, and then they said, no, let's put you back in that starting spot. And then that's when the team went on that 9-game winning streak or something like that. And then all of a sudden everybody gets hurt. But that's another story. We won't get into that. All right, let's move on. Oh, I'll also shout out the Mavs forward Christian Wood. I think he's a nice player as well, coming off the bench. Man, undrafted guy, develop into something special, can shoot the ball from anywhere you want on the court. He's a very good player. All right, but your coach of the year. And I wonder if this is going to be unanimous here, but let's see what happens. K-Walk, I'm going to come to you first.
Probably not if you start with me. So it's for my guy, it's me, my guy Eric Spoelstra, man. I just think he could legitimately be the coach of the year every year, in my opinion, because he does so much with so little. And I say that because of the fact of the matter is, when you look at this team, you don't see any superstars on this team. You can see stars. You can say Jimmy Butler's a star, but he's not a superstar. You could say Bam Adebayo, who I'm wearing his jersey tonight. is a star, but not a superstar. And then you got Lowry, who's coming off the bench now. Kevin Love is, it's just they're doing he's doing a lot with a lot less. So I just think you could literally put this guy in the conversation every single year. But I think it's right now I think they're 7th in the East right now. Their defense is a little shaky right now, and I think that's what they pride themselves on. So if they can get that going, but that's going to be a different story. But I'm going to go with Eric Spoelstra here for the Coach of the Year.
I gotta go with Mike Brown. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. What he's doing with that young team is amazing. Yeah, for me, for me, I have to go with Mike Brown as my Coach of the Year. I like Eric Spoelstra, but he's not doing enough for me this year. But no, Mike Brown, what he's doing for that young team is amazing. I think last year they had a 30-52 record. Well, a lot of the same players. I know they went out and got a couple new pieces, maybe one or two. 45-30 this year so far. I think they're top 3 seed, I believe, in the Western Conference. I mean, he really has these young guys really playing. And I love the rookie they have, Keegan Murray, I believe is his name, playing very well. And De'Aaron Fox. Where I get that from? De'Aaron Fox. I think this is one of the best years he's played since he's gotten in the league, and you could really start to see that development. I love how Mike Brown is coaching this team. But Jay, who's your Coach of the Year?
Yeah, no, K-Walk, to your point, I do think Spoelstra is one of the best in the league, and he's so good, but and he's probably even a little bit underrated, maybe. But for this one, Britt, I agree with you. I got Mike Brown as well. For everything you said, plus the attitude that he has instilled in this team. Like, they're not ducking anybody. Like, they're not blinking no matter who they're playing on the court. I love the attitude of these young guys. It's almost different. Like Memphis, to me, like they have this fake bravado, tough guy attitude. The Kings, they just really bring it. Like, they're not ducking anybody, but they're not up in your face about it either. So I love the fact that not only has he coached these guys up on the court, but they have a winning attitude and spirit, in the way that they play basketball. So for me, I think Mike Brown has just done a tremendous job. So he's my Coach of the Year for sure.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings, I know they're young, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings win a series or 2 in these playoff games, in the playoffs coming up soon. That's how good this team is showing that, hey, we could play. And to be 45-30, you beat some competitors, and that's not just all easy teams they're beating. So
I could see them winning 1, I think.
Yeah.
The West is just so
one,
tough.
Maybe 2. 1, maybe 2, but we'll see what happens. I think it just depends on if another team takes them for granted. Just being that, like the Knicks, how I see the Knicks on the East. You take this team for granted or you underestimate this team, they might get you. So, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Last one. Your current top 5 teams in the NBA right now. If you want to put it in order, that's fine. Just give me 5 real quick. Jay, I'm coming to you.
I got 5. I don't know. I have them in an order, but don't hold me to this order. I obviously have the Bucks and the Celtics. I think they're the 2 best teams in the East, so I definitely have them. Then I went out west, and I kind of projected my Phoenix Suns with a healthy Kevin Durant. So they're on my list. If KD's healthy, I like Phoenix. I don't want to count out the champs. I got Golden State. I know they haven't been great this year. I know they've lost a ton of games on the road. But I feel like when the lights come on, if they're healthy, they're going to be ready to play when the lights come on. And then I got your Sixers, Britt, because I think talent-wise with Embiid and Harden and Maxey and some of the role players that they have, if they can put it all together, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with as well. So Bucks, Celtics, Suns, Warriors, Sixers are my 5 right now.
Yeah, with me, I agree. Bucks and Celtics, I look at them as the 2 top teams in the NBA right now. I also have the Sixers in there as well. They have to get healthy. I know they're hurt right now. Unfortunately, 2 stars are hurting right now. But this time they got to somehow get healthy. See what happened the last 2 years. And then I went a different route. I did put the Nuggets in there because I think they do have talent. I really think they have some talent there. I never said they was going to get past the first round. I said current top teams right now. Never said they was going to get past the first round. It's fluent. No. I did put the Nuggets in there. I don't think Jokic should be MVP, but I still how they play in the regular season. I think they're an incredible regular season team. I've said that for a long time. And then I wasn't sure with this last one. I don't know what to go with Phoenix, but right now they have not been playing well because KD's been out.
Come on,
Warriors have been up and down. The Kings are young. I'm not sure. I even thought about the Cavs, but they're not always the most consistent, and they're still young. You know what, Jay? I'll give it to your team. Only because KD is back. I'll give it to your team. All right. They better not disappoint me because they've been struggling. They beat my team Saturday. But I'll give it to Phoenix as of right now because they have KD, D-Book, DeAndre Ayton. So you know they have the talent over there. So, but we'll see what happens. But K-Walk, who's your top 5?
Yeah, but real quick, they didn't beat your team on the other day because Embiid didn't play. And you talking about the Suns? Never mind, my bad. I thought you were talking about the Nuggets. But anyway, speaking of Nuggets, I had some chicken nuggets the other day from Wendy's, and it's not the nuggets; it's the sauce that they gave me, the honey mustard sauce from Wendy's. I think it's the best dipping sauce out there. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. I could just try it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a fast food person
from Wendy's, is it sweet and sour?
No, it's the honey mustard sauce.
Oh, it's the honey mustard. Okay,
the honey mustard sauce. You know those nuggets, man. I'm sorry, I'm off script right now. I'm off topic. But
I'm cool. I love food, so you can talk to me about anything.
In this, not necessarily in the order, but I got the Bucks as well. Mm-hmm. I do have your Suns, Jay. I think KD's back. I think he's back for tonight or tomorrow night.
I think so.
Yeah. So with him healthy, with him back, I just think they're the team to beat. I don't care what anyone says. I have the Celtics as well. Mm-hmm. I do have your Sixers in there, Brit, at number 4, and I slid the Kings in there at number 5. So I went 5 Kings, 4 Sixers, 3 Celtics, 2 Suns, and 1 Bucks. In that particular order. So I like those teams.
Yeah, that's a good list. Look, you could add that 5th team could be about 3 or 4 different teams, which I really like that.
And the basketball season this year, ladies and gentlemen, has been so mind-boggling for me. So it's really hard. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, it's a crapshoot for me.
Right. All right, guys. So we're gonna do something a little bit different this time. We actually want to take a break. Well, actually, before we head into our first break, I just want to talk a little NFL real fast, and then we'll head into our first break, and then we'll come back. So we're going to get right into it. As we all know, Aaron Rodgers wants to be traded or is about to be traded to the New York Jets once they figure out whatever is going on. But as we know, they're actively in trade talks to try to get him moved over to New York. I have a quick question for you guys. Are people underestimating the Jets if or when they get Aaron Rodgers to be contenders? Jay, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
I feel like, Britt, or at least people that I've heard talk about it, I feel like a lot of people have said if the Jets get Rodgers, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. So I don't know that people are necessarily underestimating it. I might be, because as good as Rodgers is, I don't know if he still has his fastball. And maybe people are going to think I'm crazy. But there's just something about him right now to me where he's a little bit more showman, a little bit more cocky, a little bit more talking about what he's done in the past and not necessarily getting it done on the field currently. So I still think he's really good. I'm not saying he's a bum or anything like that, but this is not Aaron Rodgers of 5 years ago. So yes, I think the Jets will be better, obviously, but I don't know that they're getting the Aaron Rodgers that they think they're getting. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, if it all happens.
I think there might be a slight underestimation, or people are slightly underestimating this team. Look, I know Aaron Rodgers did not play well this past season, but I feel like if the Jets had a better quarterback than they did this past season, they would have got a little bit further in the playoffs than they did. And I think that was just their biggest flaw, really. Other than the fact they were young, but as a young team, they were playing very, very well. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you would have put Aaron Rodgers in that particular position, they would have gotten further. Maybe
I agree with that too. I agree with that.
Been saying something a little bit different potentially. I'm not going to give a guarantee, but I just think they're so great defensively. They're young. They're They're strong. What they had a top 5 defense last year, if I cannot recall.
Yeah,
I
they
think
got
the
a great
biggest
roster.
thing offensively, they had to stay healthy. Primary that running back position needs to stay healthy. They just signed Alan Lazard. They're in talks to hopefully go get Odell Beckham Jr. I know he's also meeting with Baltimore, but I know the Jets is also a destination possibly for him. With an Aaron Rodgers, with a Garrett Wilson who won Rookie of the Year last year. I think this team is a team to watch out for. I really, really do. Now, are they better than the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. No. We'll see about the other ones. The other teams are just still so questionable. It could be the Chiefs and Jets in the AFC Championship this year. Like, I would not be surprised, to be honest with you. But K, walk your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are underestimating the Jets because they're the Jets. I mean, that's just the reason why you go by the name. But when you look at them on paper and everything you guys just laid out, I mean, you have to give them respect. You have to give them their just due, because if Aaron Rodgers, if and when he does come to the New York Jets, and you look at everything you guys just mentioned, you mentioned a top 5 defense with Robert Saleh. You're going to get that with him because that's the guy who he is. That's the guy he is. And then you mentioned those weapons. Garrett Wilson. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete, man. I watch it. Yes. Yeah, he runs excellent routes, man. He gets open. He has great speed. And then they brought in Lazard, a guy that Aaron Rodgers is very familiar with. If you can get a running back in there who can stay healthy, like you mentioned, Britt, that's going to be huge. So I think a lot of people are underestimating them just because it's the Jets. And right now, at the same time, it's because that trade hasn't happened, or that trigger hasn't been pulled, if you will. So yeah, I definitely think that they're underestimated without question. And a lot of these people, if and when that happens, and we're hearing, like, right now everything is in the Packers court, if you will, because I'm hearing that Aaron Rodgers is not answering the Packers calls right now, so he's not fielding any of those calls. So the ball is in their court, if you will, or on their field. So yeah, definitely they're being underestimated for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, that I do like that young running back, Breece Hall. It's just he can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
and who knows if they get that, all of a sudden, you never know. Ezekiel Elliott may want to say, you know what, let me try over here. And now you got that second running back. Although he's older, he can get you a couple yards that you need to get that first down or get to that touchdown line. So
I wish they could have held on to Elijah Moore. If they could have held on to him, whoa, that would have been scary. But they got a second round for him, so they'll use that wisely, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to head into our first break. But when we come back, I'm going to get into what's called situational basketball and maybe some more buy-sell topics as well. All right, but please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're also, again, on Twitter at The Sideline Speaks. And what else? We're also on Twitch as well. I'm trying to think, guys.
Coming through fast, right?
It's still new. And please follow us. If you're not able to watch us on YouTube, please go to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We would greatly appreciate it. Like, share, and comment here on YouTube. Again, The Sideline Speaks. You guys are watching The Sideline Speaks with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network.
CampBlyman.com is an opportunity for my big boys to come get some work. Let's put it all together. We built from the ground up. Our cliche is it all starts up front. Once again, start, stance, hand placement, hand separation, get-offs, counter moves, a little bit of everything. Polish up those skills before your middle school or high school season began. Just come work on your craft. Once again, CampBlyman.com.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Britne Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
Welcome back to The Sideline Speaks with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. How did that feel? Actually felt pretty good, guys. Felt pretty good. Go to break, come back. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys, let's get what's called situational basketball. I have done this plenty of times before. We haven't done it in a while. A lot of these will probably sound similar, just with different athletes. Okay, it is going to be the current NBA edition, so I'm not going to bring in historic athletic figures from the past. We're just going to keep it current. So we don't have to go do our research too much.
You say historic, not prehistoric, right?
No, I said historic.
Okay,
historic.
okay.
I'm not that mean yet.
Yet.
At this moment. All right, guys, let's start with. So basically, for those who don't know, because we do have some new viewers here, I'm just going to give out a situation that would occur in a basketball game, and then I'll say 3 athletes' names, and each of one of us will select the athlete who we think can get the job done. Simple. All right.
So we don't get the heads up. Can you let them know we don't get the heads up prior?
No, I don't give anybody the heads up prior. They don't know what the situation is, and they do not know who the athletes are. So some athletes, hopefully they heard of them. If not, oh well. Make a pick.
Oh well.
Make a pick. All right, guys. First one. 2 seconds on the clock. Down by 1. Who would you have take the very last shot of the game to win the game? If not, you lose and you go home. So I just decided to do the 3 MVPs candidates. We have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Did I say it right? Antetokounmpo, something like that.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Jokic, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid. Who do you have taken the last shot? All right, K-Walk, you lucky. I'm gonna have you go last.
Shaking my head.
Nope. I said
okay.
I'm gonna have you go last. See?
Okay.
Jay.
Okay. Man.
Jay, you go first
Appreciate
on this one.
This is tough, Brick, because you only got 2 seconds on the clock, right?
2 seconds.
And Giannis, I don't really necessarily. Is 2 seconds enough time for him to get to the rim? Probably not. I don't want him shooting. So I'm not taking Giannis, but the other 2 guys need someone to throw it to them, like down in the paint. So this is tough, but I'm going with Embiid. I think if you can get him the ball, if he can catch it in the paint somewhere, he's got that nice little short jumper. He can do a fadeaway. I think Embiid would be the guy that I would go to. Obviously the height, the size, the length, he's either going to score or you're going to have to foul the guy. So give me Embiid. It's tough though. None of these are great candidates, but I'll take Embiid.
You know what? For me, I agree. Giannis, I just don't think he has enough time. I'm not sure if he can, because he can make them, but sometimes it's by luck.
Yeah, I don't trust.
He's not the best outside shooter. Now, if you throw a lob to him at the rim, then I think he can go get it. But this is not necessarily the situation. This is a shot, okay? Jokic. I like Jokic. But the only thing with Jokic is, and we know he can shoot from outside. He can shoot the ball very well from the outside.
Yeah.
If you have another center like Embiid crowding his space, he's not the best. He's not the most mobile big man. So he's not going to fade away or side shot or anything like that. So because of that, I have to go with Embiid because of his footwork, because we know he does the fadeaway shots all the time. He does those side shooting motions all the time where you jump to the side, or he could just plainly shoot over you, depending on who he's going against. So this is a little bit tougher than I thought it would be. But yes, I agree with you, Jay. I'm going to go with Embiid only because of that. K-Walk, who you have?
My question is 2 seconds left. Is this ball being inbounded? How is this being set?
It's inbound. You better catch it and shoot it, however you get it up.
Okay. So, all right. So with that being
2
said,
seconds is enough to turn around and shoot.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Depends where they catch the ball at. So, you know what? With all that being said, man, maybe I'm overthinking this, but there's so many different scenarios can play out depending on where the ball's being inbounded and everything like that. But
at the 3-point
I'm going to agree with you guys. I'm going to agree with you guys. Would you say? I didn't catch that.
At the 3-point line. There you go. Where the ball's being inbound up there.
Might want to give the Jokic there, but not or Embiid or Giannis. Yeah, this is rough. No, I'm going to go with you guys. I'm going to go with Embiid. I think Embiid has shown that he can hit the long range shot the mid-range shot, and obviously he can get down low. So and that one play that he had to win the game, I think it was a couple weeks ago when he had that fadeaway shot.
Yeah.
It's impossible to block that shot. So I'm gonna go with Embiid. I'll take Embiid here because I think he can make every shot that you can ask an NBA player to make. He can make the long range, mid range, and obviously he can dunk or he can go right over top of you and lay it in. So I'll take Embiid here for sure.
All right, well, you know what? Let's mix it up then. I actually didn't have this plan. Let's say it was 10 seconds left on the clock. At that point, who do you have taking the shot? Because now they have enough time to gather, do their moves, do whatever they need. That's a lot. That's much different. So does that change? Does that change your answer with 10 seconds?
That changes my answer. 10 seconds, I'm going Giannis. Because Giannis going to the bucket, you're not stopping that. So if it's 10 seconds, I'm taking Giannis.
Every time.
K-Walk, you taking Giannis too?
Every time. Just for everything that Jay just mentioned. For the go downhill, I don't think anyone can stop him with 10 seconds left. No.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. Okay. I don't like, and I get what you're saying because that's absolutely true. But if you have the right defender, I'm gonna foul Giannis and make him make it on the free throw line. Probably at least going to overtime. That does make.
You didn't lay those scenarios out though. Come on,
that is. But I do agree with you guys. I love Giannis going to that rim is very difficult to stop. Very difficult to stop. I think I'm going to keep the answer of Embiid because we mentioned he can make a multitude of shots in different ways. He can shoot it from the outside. He could Euro stepping on you. He'll do the dream shake. We have seen him do that 1,001 times. He recently did that not that long ago as well. So that's the only reason why I'm going to keep that answer. But
that's the only reason why?
It would be between Embiid and Giannis in this situation. Yes, it is. What's the other reason, K-Walk?
You tell me. That's what I'm asking you.
I don't know. You said it.
I think there's other reasons.
I don't know. All right, guys. Next one. Last shot, down by 3. Last shot, down by 3. You need a 3 to tie in order to go into double overtime. Who is taking the last shot? So you need a 3, and it's not going to be any of those guys. Okay. All right. So we had the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey. The Suns, Damian Lee. I don't know if y'all can catch what I was trying to do here. And the Heat, Tyler Hero. Who you got? Can y'all kind of figure out what I was trying to do? K-Walk, you go first.
Yeah, I think we all will have 3 different answers here, but yeah, I'm gonna go Tyler Hero here. I'm gonna take Tyler Hero. I think Tyler Hero is better off the dribble than a lot of these guys are. His step back game is better than the previous 2 mentioned. Yes, it does. You asked the question, Britt. I have to give you my answer. All right, you don't have to agree with it, but
I didn't say anything.
I got it in my mind. But yeah, Tyler Hero. I think Tyler Hero has a better get open shot than the previous 2 mentioned guys. So I'm going to go with Tyler Hero. It's going to sound like I'm a fan. I am a fan. So, but nonetheless, I still think that even if I wasn't a fan, I think his game warrants that. I think his game is better at getting an open shot than any other 2 guys.
Yeah, I think I'll be the tiebreaker here. Jay, if there is a tiebreaker or unanimous.
I don't think there's going to be a tiebreaker.
No, you know what?
Jay?
You know what, Britt?
Might be Damian Lee. We don't know.
I'm not going Damian Lee here. I was kind of going back and forth between Maxey and Hero because I think both those guys could get it done. But I think I agree with K-Walk here. I just think, sometimes taking a last second shot and Tyrese Maxey probably has this about him too. But sometimes it's a confidence, a moxie that you have to have. It's more than just being a shooter, like when the pressure's on. And I do like sort of what Tyler Hero brings to the table when it comes to that. And to K-Walk's point, I do think his quickness and his ability to maybe create some space. So I'm going to go Hero here. I'm going to agree with K-Walk here.
No, I like Tyler Hero. I do. I just don't think I agree with you guys when it comes to quickness and whatnot. He's quick for a Tyler Hero type of player, but he's nowhere near as fast as a Tyrese Maxey. And I watched both the Heat and the Sixers. The thing with Tyrese Maxey is he somehow learned that daggone Harden step back. That is a travel, but they never call it a travel. And he's shooting the last so many games. I think he's shooting about 50 something % from the three. And he has that mindset and that confidence. And that's why everybody loves him and wants him to be either sixth man of the year or most improved player of the year sixth man or most improved player of the year. But you're talking about quickness and what they could do with the basketball. I like Tyler Hero, but I think Tyrese Maxey is well above a Tyler Hero at this moment. Sorry to say it, but I think Tyler Hero does more defensively than a Tyrese Maxey. But as far as just pure quickness and shooting capabilities, I got to go with Tyrese Maxey. But to me, Tyler Hero is right behind him. I just put Damian Lee in there, although he's the best three-point shooter out of both these guys, because that's Jay's team. I had to find somebody outside of D Book and KD. It wasn't fair if I would have picked those two out there. So, but yeah, any answer would have been good. Sorry. All right, let's go next. Let's go to the next one. Last one, guys, and then we're moving on. Up by 2, 5 seconds left on the clock. Kevin Durant has the ball and is in isolation. ISO. Who do you have defending him to win the game? We have Heat's guard or forward Jimmy Butler, Celtics guard Marcus Smart, or Celtics forward Jason Tatum. Okay, well, I'm gonna have you go first on this one.
Just open up the door in the stadium and it'll blow him back.
That's cool, K-Walk. Why are you gonna do KD like that, man?
I'm just kidding, guys. I think I'm gonna go.
I think start the video up and send it to KD. He's gonna come at you for that one, K-Walk.
Oh my goodness! I'm putting this one on Twitter.
Actual account, though. Would he come at me with his actual account or with his ghost account?
Tell me he got a KD burner account.
right. Facts. I'm gonna go with Smart. I'm trying to recall who guarded him the first round of last season. I think everyone had a chance at him. So I'll take Marcus Smart. I'll give it to Marcus Smart here on this one because he can get in for everything that they did last season. I mean, that's just what the Celtics did to Brooklyn last season in their first round. So I'm going to go Marcus Smart here. Marcus Smart.
Jay, you got a little smile on your face. What you got to say? You got to go against your guy this time.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, if KD's got the ball, I don't know. I think the game's over, but I think he's gonna hit the game winner. But for the sake of the question, Britt, I'm gonna take Tatum just because I feel like Tatum gave him so many problems in the playoffs last year. Just got into his body, was really physical with him. Even though Tatum's kind of a slender build himself, you could tell he's physically a lot stronger than KD, and he just kind of pushed KD around and didn't allow KD to get comfortable. So I'm going to take Tatum because of that. And then also, he's how tall is Tatum? 6'9", 6'10", maybe. Yeah. So he's got the length to maybe contend with KD's shot as well.
I like that one too. I was teetering on that one between Smart and Tatum, so I like that one.
Nobody wants to choose Jimmy Butler. What?
Jimmy, he'll do it, but I think he can. I just think KD can shoot over him. Yeah, I think he can shoot over him.
Yeah, and on that note, I'm also going with Jason Tatum. I think big factor is length. And Jason Tatum is a good defensive player. When he really says, I'm going to play defense this game, he's a fantastic defensive player. And like we just mentioned, he has the length to do it. He'll get up in your face, and he caused all types of problems for KD in the playoffs last year. And he'll get physical with you. And I think he learned that because his teammate is Marcus Smart. So Boston fans, be thankful to Marcus Smart that everybody on that team plays good defense as they do, because he showed everybody how to be that physical specimen on the defensive side of the ball, and that's what Jason Tatum decided to become in that series. Now, in the regular season, it's different. He's not as consistent, but playoff time, we see a different Jason Tatum, which I do like. He steps it up on both sides.
It's always nice to have a smart player on your team.
Pun intended.
Pun
That's
intended.
a pun intended.
K-Walk be coming with the dad jokes. Don't get K-Walk started. He
All
got
day.
a whole bunch
All day,
of them.
bro.
All right, guys. So we're gonna move on now. We're gonna get into buy sell topics. I'll try to make this segment as fun as possible. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with buy sell. It's been around forever. I'm gonna say a statement. You just tell me if you're gonna buy the statement or you're gonna sell it. Yeah, that can happen. That will happen. Or sell. Nah, that's not happening at all. Let me know. First one. Going to the NFL draft. Quarterback CJ Stroud will be drafted before quarterback Bryce Young in this upcoming NFL draft. Jay, I'm coming to you first.
Yeah, I'm definitely buying that. I like Stroud better than Young anyway. And then from what I hear, he put on an absolute show at his pro day at Ohio State. So I think because of the size, because of the arm talent, he just feels like less of a risk, although I think Bryce Young's going to be fantastic as well. So I'm buying that all day. I like Stroud as the number one pick.
Yeah, I'm buying it as well. You already know how I feel about CJ Stroud. I'm a huge Ohio State fan. But I love CJ Stroud. I love his arm. I love his accuracy. This is not knocking Bryce Young because I think he will be a stud too. I just feel like CJ Stroud is more NFL pro ready right now.
Yeah.
And we've seen it last year. The throws that he was making was unbelievable. So I'm going to buy this as well. K-Walk, do you buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it with a little hesitation. The reason why I said that because Zach Wilson a couple of years ago, Jay, you remember you and I were doing a show and I was gung-ho about this guy because of some of the throws he was making in the same type of situations and just looked like he was just that guy. CJ Stroud is making those same type throws, but I seen him in game. I also saw Zach Wilson do the same thing. But based off the question, I'm going to go see. I'm just going to stick with CJ Stroud. I just think that he's pro ready. He's thrown to some pro type receivers and a pro type offense. So I think he's going to be ready. So I'm going to take CJ Stroud. And again, no knock to Bryce Young, like Jay mentioned. But I'm going to take CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's hard, man, because Bryce Young, he is a playmaker. Like it might not look prototypical all the time, but he can flat out play. And if he was a couple inches taller, it might not even be a conversation because he can flat out play. Like there's no question about that.
Facts, Jeff.
Yeah. This is not the knock Bryce Young at all. And I mean at all, because both of them it's hand in hand. As we know, these are the top two quarterbacks in the drafts. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Look, I like Anthony Richardson. He'll be a player, but right now he can't compare to CJ Stroud and Bryce Young at this moment. He may get there, but not yet. He's still a little raw. All right, next one, guys. Quarterback Lamar Jackson will be traded prior to the NFL season. I know this is not talking about it. Just buy or sell this topic. He'll be traded prior to the NFL season. Jay, I'm going to come to you first.
This is a hard one, Brett, but I think I'm going to buy it just because there's so much turmoil and so many things have been said and feelings are hurt and I guess they're worlds apart on the money. So it just doesn't feel like they're going to be able to reconcile this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and buy it and say that he will be traded.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jay here, man. I like Jay mentioned. You just think of some of the relationships you had back in your day, and some of the arguments that you got into, and some of the things that you said, and it's just true. The truth hurts, and I don't like you because your feet are too short, or you're too short, whatever the case may be. Your feet are too small, or you're too short, whatever the case may be. And sometimes that can rub people the wrong way. But I agree. I agree with Jay. I'm going to buy this. I think he'll be traded. He released that. I don't know why it came out today that he tweeted back on March 2nd that he was going to be traded, and now today is March 28th, and we're just now hearing about this now. We're just hearing about it now. So there's a lot to say about that. So Lamar wants to be gone. Lamar Demetrius will be traded. So I buy that.
You know what? I was thinking about buying it, but I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna sell it.
Wow. I feel like every time that I say something, she has to disagree with it. You guys feel like
That's
y'all
what I
listen.
love to do.
Like, I was thinking about it, but then when Kate walked off, I'm not.
She decided to go the other way.
Right?
Of course. That's what I love to do. Come on, K-Walk. I like to debate. No. No. The reason why I decided to sell, because you guys kept saying turmoil, and I believe that. But for some reason, I think the Ravens are being like that little stubborn, petty little thing that you don't want to be bothered with, but they can't help but to keep bothering you. And I feel like Lamar wants to be traded, but they're being petty enough to say, no, we'll trade you when we want to trade you, when we want this and this, that, and we, yada, yada, yada. So I think he's going to get traded. I just don't think it's going to be prior to the NFL season. I also don't think Lamar will be playing for them, but I think it's going to be during the beginning of the season, some way or another. Because I just feel like Baltimore's going to mess themselves up. I don't know why. I think they're messing themselves up now.
Lamar's not playing under those circumstances. Lamar's not playing.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah. Not going to play. All right. Okay, next one. Let's see which way I want to go. We're going to stick with the NFL for right now. The Arizona Cardinals will get a first or second round pick for wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. K-Walk, do you buy or sell?
I buy it. I definitely buy it. At least a second round pick for sure. First round pick, that's going to be rough. But second round pick for sure. So you said first or second round pick, right?
First or second, yep.
So, excuse me. So with that being said, yes, absolutely. I buy that. Hopkins is still, he has a lot of balling left to him, and he gets in the right situation. He can ball out. If he can ball with Kyler Murray, he can ball with anyone. So, yeah, definitely I buy that.
Jay?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with K-Walk. I'm going to buy it. Might not be a first, but definitely a second. Look, I think this guy, like K-Walk said, he's got a lot left in the tank. I think he can still absolutely play. Still one of the best receivers in football. He just needs a new environment. You feel like it's time for a change for him. I think, we'll actually see, his production go up if he actually gets in a new environment. So I'll buy that. Teams would be silly not to, because he's got a lot left in the tank.
For sure.
Yeah, I think health is a factor, because this is his second new environment, by the way. But I will buy that as well, because I believe that as well. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the game when he's healthy. The key word, he has to stay healthy.
Well, he wasn't really hurt that year. He was suspended mostly last year.
That's right. He was suspended. And then I thought he got hurt towards the end of the year. Didn't he get hurt again?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, not too many was following the Cardinals this year.
Oh, I do. I know he was hurt. I mean, not hurt, but he was suspended.
I remember he was suspended. I do remember.
And then he had that, that mystery injury, so because they didn't have a season left, but
okay, but put it this way, he got to stay on the field. So suspension, injury,
I like that.
There we go. There you go. But I do believe he is still worth at least a second round pick, because he's that talented and his hands is just pure solid. Next one, the Clippers. So we switched to the NBA. The Los Angeles Clippers will win a playoff series. Do you buy or sell? Why you put your head down like that? Who went first last time? Jay, go ahead. You take it.
That's tough. That's tough, Britt, because if you look at their roster on paper, they should win a playoff series, but the West is so tough. They're not in a great position, so they're going to have a tough first round matchup. So I'm going to sell it. I'm going to say they're not going to win. I think it's going to be another disappointing year for the Clippers. I'm going to sell and say they don't win a playoff series.
Yeah, I'm going to sell as well. I think seeding has a lot to do with it. But also, if I can recall, Paul George is out for the season. I don't remember what happened. I can't think of what the injury is. Yeah, but he is out for the season. I know that's going to negatively impact that team. Yeah, and Kawhi is on and off the court constantly. So I don't have any trust in him right now. So I'm going to sell it. The K-Walk, do you buy or sell?
No, I'm selling this right here, guys. It's for everything you guys just mentioned. No PG-13, the mystery call on Kawhi Leonard, and then you got Russell Westbrook. If he's going to be the guy that you have leading your team, then it's not going to work for you. So I'm definitely selling that.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be tough. All right. Next one. The Dallas Mavericks will make the playoffs. Do you buy or do you sell? Okay, well, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
Yes, I buy it. I think they're definitely going to make it. It's not hard to make the playoffs in the West right now. Everything's so compact, but with the weapons that they have, or I don't want to say the weapons, but with their, with Kyrie and with and with Luka, I think you have to pencil them in as a playoff team. So I'm gonna buy this. They will make the playoffs.
I think for me, I'm going to sell. I don't know if I trust them. Look, they're great offensively, but
to
you can
not
see how
make the playoffs.
To not make the playoffs.
Wow,
I think they're in 11th. Okay. They're in that 11th seed right now, if I cannot recall. I think they're in 11th seed.
I'm looking at it right now. They're 11 right now.
I believe they're in 11th seed.
But that's so bunched up. If I don't have it in front of me, but it's like
it's all bunched up.
It's all bunched up.
It's like 2 games between 11 and 6. So it could go either way.
That's why I'm buying
it. It's still a possibility, but right now I'm going to sell it as of how they've been playing right now. I'm going to sell it. But we'll talk about this further later. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth. So right now I'm just going to sell it. They just haven't been playing well. And I called this when Kyrie got traded over there. But Jay, do you buy or sell?
Yeah, Britt, to your point, they've won 3 out of their last 10. So you're right. They're not playing well. They are the 11th seed, but I do think because it's all so bunched up, if you can win 2 or 3 games in a row, you're right back in the mix. And then I think because of the play-in, I do think they're going to make the playoffs. It might be via the play-in game, but I think when it's all said and done, they will get there. So I'm going to buy that they make the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I don't think even if they make the play-in, I don't think they're going to win that game. That's a few games you got to win there. All right, guys, let's move on before we head into our next break. I had one more for you, but he just had some situation with a fan in the media, basketball player, Bradley Beal, guys. It was Bradley Beal. We're gonna go buy that.
Yeah, basketball player had another incident.
He got into a fight or something with a fan. But anyway, all right. So my next question is, and this is regarding the NBA, college players. Should the NBA allow should the NBA allow players to be drafted right after high school? I know it's in a lot of discussion. They're not actually saying right after high school. It's just that age shift. I think they want to maybe take it back down to 18 again. But do you think they should allow it like it was back in the day? Jay, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
It's a hard question. I don't know. I guess in principle, I feel like they should. Because in other sports you can, tennis, even baseball, you can get drafted. You're going to play AA, AAA, whatever it's called. It feels like in football and basketball are the only sports where you can't. I get it in football, guys aren't physically ready. So I feel like in principle, they probably should allow it. There's only going to be a guy or 2 every year that's even good enough to really make that jump anyway. So I think they should allow it. Almost, how K-Walk in football, you can kind of test your draft prospect and you can kind of put your name in the hat. And then if it doesn't work out, you can go back. They should do something like that for these guys. Like let them put their name in the hat. If it doesn't work out, let them continue to have their eligibility to go to college or go play overseas or go to the G League, whatever it's called. So, yeah, I think in principle, it feels fair for someone that has extraordinary talent. Why make them wait?
Yeah. You know what? I'm in agreement. I think they should allow it. They used to do it at one point in time. I don't understand why they ever changed the rules. I feel like it was more geared to helping colleges and their programs make money. I do believe that. Let's be honest. I think that was the primary reason why they decided to change the rules. It wasn't a lot of consistency for the programs to continuously win. But yeah, it really made no sense to me. A lot of these guys, they're not going to college anyway. Like you said, Jay, they're going overseas. They're going to the G League because you could enter right into the G League. They have a draft down there now. You could make just as much. Well, not just as much. You could make decent money overseas. So just allow for the one or two exceptional player to come straight into the NBA like you did with LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant, all those guys. I think that's the best way to do it. But K-Walk, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I kind of like 1 year, one and done. I like the one and done rule, especially now with the NIL deal, with everything that's going on there. So I like the NIL. I like the one and done. I like these guys getting experience before they get experience, because if you go to the right program, you can get that March Madness experience. You can get that playing in front of 20 plus thousand fans in an environment, and things of that nature, and that can prepare them for the NBA. And then of course, then you got the NIL deals on how to manage your money and things of that nature. So I'm going to say I like the one and done. I don't like coming right out of high school anymore. I don't like that anymore. I like the one and done. I think these guys have to get some type of education. I know it's different than when we grow up, Jay. As far as how much money that could be made in the game, whether it be football, whether it be basketball, whatever the case may be, whatever respective be. But I like the one and done deal. I think you should allow these kids, make these kids, if they want to go to that next level, to go to college for at least 1 year. I like it. There's so many different things that's there for them now that it was back in the day. So yeah, I no, don't forget about that. Straight out of high school stuff. I think they're just too young. Even I don't care how many guys you have representative, or how many people, not to say guys, how many people you have representing you and steering you in the right direction. Because even we see that with John Morant, even with that, that can go left or right. So I think that putting them in a situation, putting them in a college atmosphere, allowing them to go through that NIL deal, and putting them in a situation like that, I think that's the best route to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, K-Walk, I think you made great points. I mean, I don't think you can argue with those points. The only reason that I disagree with it, though, is because it feels like it's the only walk of life where your greatness is penalized, right? Like, if I'm a great musician, I can go on tour at 16 years old and sell out, right? Like, if I'm a great artist, like, nothing holds me back from like putting my art out there. So my only issue with it is, like, if I'm the best young basketball player in the world, like, why do I have to be held back a year from going and being a professional when I'm that talented? Like, that's
from a basketball standpoint.
From
a basketball standpoint, I get it. But I think when you talk about the mental aspect of it and put them in a situation where they're surrounded by people and they can get into that atmosphere, because a lot of these guys that we've seen, there have been a lot of first round guys or first overall picks that have been busts. I'm not saying this is the reason why they've been bust, but it just put them in a situation where allow them to prepare themselves for that big stage, if you will, that national tournament, like, where we're going on right now, and that, Final Four, and then put them in a situation where classes, and then prepare them mentally, not just on the basketball court, but prepare them off of the aspect of off the court, or off the field, or whatever respective sport we're talking about. That's where I'm coming up. But I get what you're saying, Jay, for sure.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, there's certainly a lot of pitfalls and traps that you can fall into. Like, there's no question about that. It just, it's tough, because I just see every other sport, every other walk of life.
I don't think one year would hurt. I don't think 1 year in college would hurt them, though, Jay, because that talent's going to be there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to say, well, maybe they can get hurt. Well, you can get hurt walking down your steps. You can get hurt taking the trash out, whatever the case may be. Yeah. But I just think that 1 year can make a big difference in a lot of, and not every athlete's or student athlete's life, but at least one person.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fair point, no doubt.
I think it depends on the player, because sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever realize, sometimes when a player goes from high school to college, they could be the star player, number one overall ESPN rated player, so forth. But sometimes the college game can change your game that may no longer be suitable for the NBA game. We have seen that time and time again. If they would have came straight from high school to the NBA, they could have been a star or a superstar, but because they decided to pivot off and go into the college game, Depending on who your coach is, some coaches will say, hey, we need to take your strengths and build upon that and just work on your weaknesses. But then other coaches will basically change your game a little bit. Prime example, this is not a good example at all, but I'm going to use it. Whatever. I'm going to still use it. I have no idea when I watched this guy, and it's Ben Simmons, I'm going to be honest with you, coming out of high school. He did everything. And I mean, shoot the ball, dribble. He did everything. I don't know what happened from the time he went from the high school level to the college level, where all of a sudden he no longer shoots that ball. His position basically changed. I have no idea who told him to do it, what happened. And then when he comes into the NBA ranks, outside of that mental aspect, his game was completely different. If he would have came from high school into the NBA, you still got to work on mental, regardless if you're coming from high school, college, whatever. That's just something you're going to constantly have to work on. But I think if he would have came from high school straight into the NBA, we would have seen a different type of player. He's great defensively, but offensively, something happened. I don't know what happened, but he's just one of so many examples. That's just the one I could think off the top of my head. But we have seen that time and time again. Because think about it, college has a more team. they work more in a team than the NBA. The NBA is more that ISO type of game. College is more of that, they play more zone than anything. It's a completely different game when you go to college. So that's why I say the one or two exceptional players, allow them to go into the NBA. And mentally, you're going to have to work on that, whether you 18 or 19. So, but K-Walk, you do make a lot of valid points, and I understand where you're coming from as well. All right, guys. Any other thoughts before we head into break?
No, I think that's good. I think we got it.
All right, guys, we're going to head into our next break, and Jay is going to take over and do his segment, and let's continue to have fun and talk sports, of course. But again, please like, share, subscribe to the Sideline Speaks on our YouTube. We appreciate it if you don't like to watch us, but instead you prefer to listen to us. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And please follow us on Twitter at The Sideline Speaks. Or actually, I think Twitter might be at Sideline Speaks. Let me correct myself. We are at Sideline Speaks on Twitter. But you guys are listening to The Sideline Speaks with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network.
CampBlyman.com is an opportunity for my big boys to come get some work. Let's put it all together. We built from the ground up. Our cliche is it all starts up front. Once again, start, stance, hand placement, hand separation, get-offs, counter moves, a little bit of everything. Polish up those skills before your middle school or high school season began. Just come work on your craft. Once again, CampBlyman.com.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Britne Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
All right, welcome back to the Sideline Speaks. Britne Jones, Kevin Walker, and Jason Collins. All right, guys, we got to talk some NCAA tournament, right? It's obviously we're down to the Final Four. Tournament has been kind of wild on both sides, men and women. Let's start with the men, though, guys. We got Florida Atlantic versus San Diego State in the first semifinal game, and then Miami and UConn in the second game. First, Britt, let me just ask you this. I think I know the answer, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Are you surprised at the Final Four teams that we have here?
Heck yeah. I mean, look, guys, I decided not to do a bracket this year, not to put that out there, but I didn't do a bracket because I said all these teams are too inconsistent. And I feel like whatever team I have in my Final Four, even the teams we said are all going to be gone. And I believe they are all gone. Yeah. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do one this year. You can call it what you want, but that's right. I flaked out on this one.
Yeah, and K-Walk, we redid our Final Fours last week, right? I don't remember exactly who we picked. I think you and I had the same four, though. How many of those did you have UConn in your Final Four or no?
Nope.
So none of them made
Miami.
it?
Did you have Miami?
No, I had Alabama, at the beginning, I had Alabama, I had Duke, I had Houston, I had UCLA. Then we did the revised last week, and the only team, all four were still in there, with the exception of Duke, without replacing the K-State.
Okay.
So I got last week it was Alabama, K-State, UCLA, and Houston. You tell me who's left.
Okay.
Yeah, these are serious bracket.
So to Britt's point of doing a bracket, just it didn't work out.
I'm waiting to hear, and you know you're gonna hear it. The one person who somehow figured it out, and I'm like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
They hacked some.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
They did some internet crap.
Brett, what they did was they probably did like 1,000. They probably did like 100, and then just did like every single combination that you could possibly come up with.
Right.
And that's how they did it. Because there's no way in the world you're going to tell me that these four teams you had them as your number one bracket. You're not telling me.
Right.
Yeah. All right, K-Walk, Florida Atlantic, great story. Number 9 seed going up against San Diego State. Another great story at a 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who do you got winning that one?
I like San Diego State, guys. I mean, the reason why, because San Diego State does one thing that you have to do, and Britne always says this when it comes to Joel Embiid and MVP talk, is they play defense. That's what they do. They play defense and they rebound. So I'm going to go with San Diego State here because of everything that I just mentioned. These guys they suffocate you on defense. If you haven't watched them yet, go back and just go back and watch these. These guys are suffocating on defense. They guard the 3-point line better than any team in the country, and this is why they're here. So watch out for the San Diego State Aztecs here. So I'm going San Diego State without hesitation.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I've watched enough of them, K-Walk, to even give like a good opinion. You sound like you're way more tuned in on it than I certainly am. But so I'm going to go this route. I'm going to go with the destiny route. I'm going to go with it's the meant to be.
They're all destiny at this point.
So I'm going to take FAU here. Just destiny.
It sounds a little bit more right.
It's their time. So I got FAU winning, Britt. I can't give you one basketball reason why other than it's destiny, it's their time. Which way you going, Britt?
If I can recall, San Diego just beat Alabama, right? Is that who they beat? Is that Alabama? That's how much we know about all four of these teams. Who they beat? Because I definitely know I watched one of these teams beat Alabama. I thought it was San Diego State. Yeah, and I just watched that game. Yeah, that's crazy how I just watched it.
I can't recall who it was.
But anyway, I do, if I can recall, it was San Diego State. I thought they beat Alabama. But no, to K-Rock's point, it was defense. And when I watched their game, how stifling they were. Is that the right word? Stifling?
Yes, very.
They were up in these guys' faces. Like, no, you're going to take a shot, but it's going to be a tough shot. And then underrated they are on the offensive side. They were making shots. I didn't know they were this good in scoring the ball. So I completely underestimated technically all four of these teams. So, but with this, because like K-Rock said, I love my defense. I think defense in basketball wins games. It may no longer be the reason in football, but in basketball, I still think it wins games. I got to go with San Diego State as well.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
Gosh,
yeah.
They beat Alabama. They did beat Alabama, and they beat Creighton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember that Alabama game stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Because Alabama's a good scoring team. With they made Brandon Miller, that's his name, right? The star.
Yeah.
Look like he can play.
He did not have a good tournament.
No, he was struggling.
Yeah.
So that game really stuck out to me.
All right, let's go to Miami and UConn, K-Walk. UConn, I mean, they were very impressive in the Elite Eight game. They kind of feel like maybe the best of the teams left. Yeah. But Miami's well coached. They got a lot of transfers in, kind of put this roster together, almost like a one-year wonder. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, I'm going to go with UConn do it. So I'm going to go with the University of Connecticut. I'm going with UConn, man. I think they're the team not this particular team. I just think that if you look at it, man, it's really hard to say, guys. You know what? It's a flip of a coin, but I like UConn. What they've been playing, the way they've been playing all year in the Big East. I know Miami's out of the ACC, And a lot of people saying that was the best conference. Well, not this year, maybe not, but Miami is playing some inspired basketball. They also play great defense as well. But I like UConn. I'm going to go with UConn here. I'm going to go with UConn. I just think they're a bigger team. They're a longer team. And they'll beat them on the they'll get they have the advantage on the boards and on the defensive end. So I'm going to go with UConn here.
Yeah, I think UConn better. They look better. I think, they're bigger. Everything you said, they play a great inside, outside game, K-Walk, all that. But I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to go for the all Florida
Why not,
final.
Jay?
FAU and Miami, all Florida final. So I'm going to go with Miami here, Britt. Not for great basketball reasons, but this tournament has been so crazy that I don't know that basketball reasons would even matter.
Right?
But who you got, Britt?
It's so funny because usually when you say UConn, you're thinking of the women's, but they just got knocked out.
Yeah.
We always say the men stink every year. It seems like that. I don't know, guys. Between these two,
know.
Right? I'll be honest with these two. I haven't really followed them as much. But you know what? Everybody says Miami is a great destination. It's fun. It's exciting. It might be too much of a party scene for me. But I'm going to go with Miami. They just sound like the more exciting team. I feel like UConn will end up winning because if y'all said size is a big factor and they're a big team, that tends to have a big factor, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm going to go with Miami just for the heck of it.
Okay, that works. And we will have a champion before we get back on the air next week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take FAU. I don't even believe it when I'm saying it, okay? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even believe what I'm saying, but I got FAU as my champ. Who do you got when it's all said and done?
Jay, when it's all said and done, when you look at these teams, I'm going to go with San Diego State just because they play the best defense out of all the four teams that are remaining right now in the men's bracket. So I'm going to go San Diego State. I know UConn is the only team that's been here before, but it's not this UConn team. This UConn team has never been there. So I'm going to San Diego State. I'm going to say San Diego State.
Okay. I can see that happening, honestly, K-Walk, because I do think defense is going to carry the day. But Britt, who's your champ?
Well, I forgot about the finals for somehow odd reason, and I went Miami versus UConn. But I'm gonna stick with it. So I got to go with San Diego State. Defense wins championships when it comes to basketball. I don't care how good your offensive, and we have seen that time and time again in basketball. Your defense steps up, you could win that game, and I think their defense is exceptional.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. I don't know.
We will.
I know I'm not real confident. I don't know that anybody's real confident. This thing has been just so strange. Let me ask you this, K-Walk. Is there any letdown that, like, we don't have any of the traditional blue bloods, no Duke, no Carolina, no Villanova? Like, is there a letdown at all that we're to the Final Four and none of these teams are really sexy? Letdown at all, or you feel good about the four we got?
Well, I definitely feel good because they're there, because you got to give praise to them. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Yeah, there's letdown. I mean, when you see North Carolina, they don't even make the dance. And they're coming up 3 seconds away from winning national champions last year, and they bring back 80% of their starting lineup, and you don't see them in there, and then you don't see Duke there. Duke doesn't make it to the Elite Eight. Kansas, all the blue bloods. I'm not going to go through the list, but yeah, there's definitely a letdown, Jay, because you at least see a 1 seed there, or 2 seed, or maybe even a 3 seed. But when you're looking at these 4 seeds, 9 seeds, it's definitely I guess outside of those teams that are in it right now, it's definitely a letdown for sure.
Yeah, to me, like, the upsets feel fun when they're happening, but then when you get down to the Final Four and there's no Carolina, no Duke, no Kansas, no Kentucky, no Villanova, like, when you don't really have any of those marquee programs, it does feel a little bit like a letdown.
And Jay, and I've been saying this all year, I couldn't put my finger on who the number 1 team is. I was saying Purdue, then Purdue goes down. I said Alabama, then they go down. It was such a hard season to put your finger on as far as who was the best team. And I guess we're starting to see is who's going to be the best team. So it's it's surprising, but it's not to me, at least anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess for me, I guess it just feels like maybe a little bit of the luster, a little bit of the shine is off of the Final Four. But Britt, what about you? How do you feel about that?
I'm more interested in the NIT. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that might be the best thing to look at.
Right. No,
It feels like an NIT, to be honest with you.
Right, right. Is it a letdown? Maybe for the people who did the brackets is a huge letdown. But I don't think it's a letdown. I think it's exciting for these programs.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
we talk
for
about
sure.
this all the time when it comes to college football. Have a more even playing field. Let it not always be Alabama or Georgia. Let's get some more teams, especially since it's one and done type of thing. Well, football's always one and done. When they expanded to, was it 12 teams now? I think it is in college football.
Yeah.
Is that starting next year or the year after?
Is it this year or next year?
Is that next year? It might be next year.
Next year.
2024.
Yeah,
It's 24, right?
2024. So, and there's a reason why they're doing that, because a lot of fans call for it, and so did the team. So I kind of see that as a similar situation with the basketball, men's basketball. So for me, it's not a letdown. We just have to get used to seeing different teams and not always hearing the Duke and the Kansas and the Kentuckys and so forth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, for Miami, if Miami wins, this puts that school back on the map. And I feel like they haven't been on the map since the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Transfer portal is working. Portal is working.
That's right.
Right.
NIL, and because they got a lot of NIL money down there too.
There you
so
go. There you go.
Yeah, you could see that in action for sure. All right, let's talk about the women, guys, because there's been this narrative like over the years, nobody wants to watch women's sports. Nobody wants to watch women's basketball. These stadiums are full. Like the TV ratings are outstanding. That Iowa-Louisville game the other night rated higher than any NBA game on ESPN this entire year. So people are watching women's basketball. There's no question about that. Britt, we got a great matchup. South Carolina and Iowa. Obviously, Dawn Staley, South Carolina, undefeated, dominating all year. But now they got to go against Caitlin Clark and Iowa. How do you see this one playing out, Britt? This is going to be a great game.
Before I answer that question, it's a lot of people out there that wants to watch women's basketball. But I think marketing has a lot to do with that, and the businesses and people who's putting the money into market women's baskall. They want to market men's, but that's a whole nother conversation. We'll get into that. Maybe I'll save that question for next week. But anyway, like I always say, the best basketball to watch is women's basketball. They play the game right. It's not just iso ball. They play the game right. But this game, it's going to be a tough one, guys. I'm a little slightly nervous. Caitlin Clark came out and played like no other. That game, she looked like she could have played in the NBA. Dead serious. She looked like she would have been a better version of Luka in that last game. Shoot the ball, assist, go and get rebounds. They could not stop her at all. I'm still going to go with South Carolina because I think defense, again, I always keep falling back on defense. And South Carolina is an exceptional defensive team, defensive-minded team. All credit to Dawn Staley. Aaliyah Boston, Zaya Cook, all those girls. I can't think of the big girl that comes off the bench. I can't think of her name right now. She's big in that paint as well. We're getting rebounds. I think that's what it's going to come down to because we know lately South Carolina tends to have those slow starts, but they always stay afloat or come back because of their defense. I think Caitlin Clark will still get her shots, but I think they'll be able to slow her down just slightly. You can't slow her down so much. She's literally, like we said, the Steph Curry of women's basketball, so college basketball. But I think South Carolina is going to take this one.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, I could go on forever about Caitlin Clark and just how good she is and all the different ways she affects the game, and she obviously does. But the other thing about Iowa that's nice, like if you have to double Caitlin Clark, like they've got four other people on the floor that can absolutely shoot the three ball. Yep. That could be a problem for South Carolina. I really think it could. But Britt, to your point, I think top to bottom, South Carolina just has a better roster. Like they play 10, 11 girls. They're just deeper than Iowa. Their defense is obviously outstanding. And the size in the middle. I mean, they just bring a bunch of girls off the bench that are really tall, and they really get you with their size. So I think it's going to be a really entertaining game. I agree. Caitlin Clark will get hers, but I think South Carolina wins the game in the end because of their defense and their depth.
I think the key to beating Iowa, because Caitlin Clark her basketball IQ is exceptional, so she understands how to play the game. South Carolina has to play those lanes properly, meaning you're playing defense. You cannot come too far over. You have to be in the right position at all times. You have to play those passing lanes properly. Because if not, she's going to kill you. She's either going to shoot it or she's going to have two options. I've been watching her games. Two options to two different players that she's going to pass that ball to. So they have to really be paying attention. Everybody has to stay focused.
Yeah, she's a great passer, no question. K-Wall, who you got?
Yeah, I think that to Brittany's point, I just think that, the key to beating Iowa is just locking Caitlin Clark in the bathroom or the bus they come in. I mean, that's just don't let her off the bus. Don't let her in the building. She is a monster, man. And I put in our thread earlier today. I think that what has to happen for South Carolina is they have to start fast, because if they start slow and Caitlin Clark starts fast, that combination equals trouble for South Carolina. Because Caitlin Clark can do more than just score. She can facilitate, as you guys alluded to. So, and like you mentioned, Jay, they can hit threes. If she gets open and they pay too much attention, you could pay attention to Caitlin Clark without paying too much attention to her. And I think that, I think Dawn Staley is going to devise up a plan, because they have the athletes to do that, and Dawn Staley has the smarts in order to do that. As good as Caitlin Clark is, I think overall, I think just like you mentioned it earlier, Jay, in our thread as well, is that the depth of South Carolina is ultimately going to overwhelm the remaining teams and the remaining two teams in this tournament. And I said the remaining two teams, so that means I think that South Carolina is going to beat Iowa, even with the immaculate play of Caitlin Clark, and then whomever they play between Virginia Tech and LSU. I know we'll get into that in a moment, but I'm going to go South Carolina. I just think they're just destined to do it. You mentioned destiny, Jay, so I'm going to go South Carolina here.
Yeah, I just really think they have a better team. Go ahead, Britt.
I was going to say this. We talking about how South Carolina has to defend Caitlin Clark, but let's not forget Iowa has to defend Zia Cook, Aaliyah Boston, which is not an easy task whatsoever.
No, I don't see any defense being played in this game, Britt. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a really high-scoring game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and if I'm South Carolina, whoever Caitlin Clark is guarding, I might go at her early. See if you can pick up a couple fouls, something, just to kind of get her off her game. I might try to attack her early and see if you can get anything out of that. All right, so we all like South Carolina there. What about the other game, Virginia Tech and LSU? I did have LSU in my Final Four. I don't know. I'll pick this one first. I'm going to take LSU. I think we'll get an all SEC final. Virginia Tech is really – I didn't realize how good Virginia Tech actually was. I watched them the last few games that they played. They're impressive. But I just think LSU is battle-tested, well-coached. You've talked about Angel Reese on here many times, Britt, and what she does from a double-double standpoint. I'm going to take LSU in that one. But, Britt, who you got?
Virginia Tech is not going to be easy at all. Elizabeth, I think Kitley, I think she's their most consistent scorer. But the thing is, they have shooters surrounding her, which is, and they you underestimate them, they will shoot lights out. But I think Angel Reese is such a force down low. It is going to be hard to, first of all, keep her off of the boards, offensive boards and defensive boards, and then trying to stop her from scoring is going to be a task. And then you look surrounding her. I can't think of the young lady's name. I think she plays that 4 position. But it's usually between her, Angel Reese, or her that goes and get those rebounds. And she could also score a little bit as well. And I keep going back to that freshman, Flau'jae Johnson. I know last game she struggled a little bit. But that's normal. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna have good games, not so good games. But that girl can shoot. Like she can shoot. She's hustles and she plays tough defense. So I gotta go with LSU on this one. I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna go with LSU.
Okay, Walk, I feel like you might go the other way on this one. Who you got?
I like Vitek here, man. I mean, I do like Vitek here, man. LSU is great, man. I mean, I did have Villanova upsetting. I'm not upsetting, but beating. And I'm looking at my last Final Four. I had Villanova in the Final Four, but Vitek, after watching them, I agree with everything Britne just said. Rebounding is key, and not just this game, but in every game. And I think that Vitek has the advantage there. And when that happens, you get second chance. You get second chance. You get second chance points, of course. Sometimes third chance points. And then you eliminate the second chance points for the opposition. So I'm gonna go Vitek here, man. I think Vitek gets it done. I think this is going to be probably the best game out of the two. So I'm going to go Vitek here, though.
Yeah.
I think they out rebound Angel Reese.
I think collectively they will. I don't know if one person can do it. I know Britt, but she's one person. She's one person.
No. The other girls around her will get, like LSU. Her teammates get rebounds also. But Angel Reese herself can get 20 to 25.
No, I'm not. No, but I think that collectively, I think they'll crash the boards, knowing everything that you're just saying. I think they know that and that's where they'll come together, and everyone will crash the boards.
I agree with you. I do think this will be maybe the more competitive game from a scoring standpoint. I think South Carolina, Iowa will be more entertaining, but I feel like South Carolina might pull away from that one in the second half, whereas you could see this one probably coming down to the wire. So
I think the national championship is going to be the Iowa and South Carolina game. I just think that. So whoever wins that game is going to come.
You think whoever wins that is going to win it out?
Yeah, in my wholehearted opinion.
Yeah. So Britt, K. Walk's got South Carolina as his champ. I do as well. Is this a no-brainer for you? Is it Dawn Staley in South Carolina when it's all said and done?
Real quick, just to go back to the LSU game. Another thing I like about LSU is not talking about who wins. I like how they play. They play with so much fun, and they don't care. When I seen Angel Reese do the "you too small," I was like, oh yeah, they out there having fun. And when the team's having fun, they could be a little tough. But they just playing. But anyway, no, y'all come on now. Like really, y'all you gonna ask me this question, Jay? You already know who I'm choosing.
Hey, anything could happen, Britt.
I'm going with Dawn Staley, South Carolina all day, every day, especially if they get past Iowa. And I'm hoping my finals is South Carolina and LSU because I want to see Aaliyah Boston versus Angel Reese. That is my dream matchup right at this moment. But I think I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Yeah, and they played each other earlier in the year, and it was close early, and then South Carolina kind of pulled away from them in the second half. They're just so big, and they're so deep, and they're just a lot to deal with. Let me ask you guys this, though. Right now, men's college basketball, women's college basketball. I heard somebody say this the other day. I don't even remember who it was. They said there's more stars in women's college basketball than there are in men's college basketball. So if you think about the women, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, K-Walk, you mentioned Maddie Sechrist from Villanova, Rakia Jackson at Tennessee. There's a bunch of others, too, that I find myself like when some of these girls are playing, I'm like, I got to watch this. On the men's side, and look, I'm probably not the greatest person to answer this because I haven't watched a lot of men's college basketball, but I don't know if there's a lot of stars on the men's side. But K-Walk, you're probably more plugged in than I am. What say you?
I know, I agree.
Stars, men's or women's?
No, I agree, Jay. I can name more big time. Every women's player that you just mentioned rolls off your tongue a lot easier than it does if you're talking about the men. Right. So you're absolutely right. We talked about Brandon Miller. I talked about Zeddy from Purdue, Thomas from Indiana, and then you got to really think about it. But everybody else, and for the women's side, is but I agree. The women's side right now is drawing a lot more attention because these players are really, really good and they really stand out and they're consistent. And that's why we're seeing the big time players on the women's side being in the position that they are. And even in the big time players on the men's side, where are they? They're hoping that whatever team beat them wins it because they can justify them losing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I definitely agree with that, Jay.
Yeah, and on the women's side, the stars are still playing.
Yes,
Like
that's what I'm
they
saying.
got all their
Exactly.
all their
Right, right.
teams are still playing. Britt, do you agree? More stars in the women's game right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even name a star over on the men's side.
Yeah,
I can't.
me
It's
neither.
not like how it used to. I cannot name one. But like you guys said, you just run them down. And not only do you run the current stars down, you could see the up and coming stars. They could be freshmen right now or sophomore right now, and they're on the rise. So you could project the future with the women's side.
Easy Fudd. Yeah, Easy Fudd.
Easy Fudd.
Yeah.
I love her.
Right.
Yeah, I love her.
Paige Beckers, who's been hurt.
Yes, hey,
yeah.
I just said one.
Rolls off your tongue. Sorry, Britt.
Flaw J. Johnson. I can't even say her first name right, but I just said one. As long as she sticks with basketball, I know she got a music career too, but as long as she sticks with basketball, I can't think of one unless they're currently in high school right now. They're probably in high school. Those were where I could think of it, but I can't think of it in college right now. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, and look, we didn't even mention Haley Jones at Stanford,
Nope.
Cameron Brink at Stanford. Like we could keep coming up with these names. So yeah, the women's game is just in a great position right now. So
Sure.
I see them Dallas rising.
Definitely
I see those Dallas coming.
Looking forward to those games this weekend. All right, let's shift gears, guys. We got to talk about Lamar Jackson. The news dropped, earlier this week. He wants to be traded. He requested a trade back in early March. Feels like a lot of drama happening right now. We love to do the relationship talk when it comes to Lamar Jackson. I feel like he's been sleeping on the couch the last few weeks, and he's kicked out of the room. He's sleeping on the couch, and now she's asking him to turn his key in. I need the key back. You got to go. I feel like that's kind of where they are in their relationship right now. Straightforward question for you, K-Walk. Will Lamar Jackson ever play for the Ravens again?
I don't think so, Jay. I'm going to say no. Like you just mentioned, we making a joke of it, but yeah, I don't even think he's in the house. I think he just checked into a hotel in a nearby hotel room. So yeah, Jay, and that those locks were changed. Yeah, I think that when everything that came out, as far as him saying that he tweeted out that he requested a trade on March 2nd. I think that kind of put the nail in the coffin, if you will, as Coach used to say, or time to turn off the lights. Inside joke, but I think that it's time for him to go elsewhere, man. And I really and I like Lamar, man. I really do like Lamar. I think the best fit for him. If I hope I'm not jumping the gun here. On the next question, if you have a 2-part question here, Jay, but I think Indianapolis may be a good spot for him for sure. I know a lot of people are saying that a lot of these teams are bailing out for whatever reason, but yeah, I think that this relationship is over with. I think he starts to sleep on someone else's couch, if you will, for a little bit before they start to start to get a little closer to one another, and then ultimately move into that same rooms. But I like him going to the Colts, though.
All right, Britt, it feels like a divorce is imminent here, but you're a hopeless romantic. Do you think they have a chance to bring it back together, or is this thing over for Lamar and the Ravens?
I'm not that hopeless romantic.
I thought it sounded good, Britt. I didn't want to put that label on you.
Yeah, don't put that label on me. I mean, relationship wise, sure, but sports wise, no.
Basketball. Come on, loving basketball.
Oh, that's my movie. That's my movie. That's my movie. I thought I was going to be loving basketball. That's another story.
You are.
But anyway,
then you are a hopeless romantic. You can take that label. Take that label, Britt.
No, that is over. He is out of there. That relationship is done. Like I said earlier, even if it goes into the season, I do not see Lamar Jackson playing for them on that franchise tag. I think it's over. I don't think Lamar cares for them as much. I just feel like he feels he's been disrespected throughout this entire process. And frankly, I don't think I disagree with him. They had a long period of time. We're talking 2 years to figure this out, and they could not figure it out. And to me, that's a major problem. But I'm gonna go differently with K-Walk. I know K-Walk, you said you think he's a good fit for the Colts, which I hope that's where he goes. But I think the Commanders is in the best spot for him.
Good fit.
Would help me out, Eric Bieniemy over there. I think Eric Bieniemy, Lamar Jackson will go hand in hand. It's going to hurt my heart because then I have to play against them because I'm an Eagles fan and I don't want to do it. But I think if the Commanders want to get back on track, you want to go make that trade. And they have Terry McLaurin and that young running back. I think James Robinson, I believe is his name.
Yeah,
Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
That offense is going to make a quick 180. So it's 180, right? Yeah, 180. So I think that really should. But between him and the Ravens, it's over. That's it.
Yeah.
Do a heart fracture.
It feels like it's over. You're right. Little game crack in the heart for sure. No question. That was good, Britt. Well played.
Right.
So K-Walk, put your GM hat. Number one, I feel like the Deshaun Watson contract just kind of threw everything out of whack. Like if people think, oh, that's the new market, I feel like you got to look at that kind of as an outlier. Like the Browns did something that nobody else was willing to do. So K-Walk, is Lamar asking for too much? Number one. And number two, if you're the GM, do you pay him? Do you give him what he's asking for, or do you let him walk?
Yeah, Jay, I wish we talked about this. We talked about this for so long. I can't stand Britt. I wish we knew the number. Jay, so I can. I mean, in my opinion, I can give a real honest answer on to say is it too much. With my GM hat on. So what we've been hearing was what numbers we've been hearing. 200 million.
Yeah, let's say that 200 million ballpark.
Okay, so let's go with that number. With that being said, I don't think that's far fetched, man. I mean, we see the number from with Deshaun Watson and what he did, what he signed with the Browns. But then what did Deshaun Watson do? He renegotiated his deal to open up more cap space for the Cleveland Browns. So with that being said, I don't know what the number is right now for Deshaun Watson, but 200, man, I don't think it's far-fetched from, especially when we're talking about all these quarterbacks getting the money that they're getting, like a Daniel Jones, like a Derek Carr, just to mention a couple, even Jimmy Garoppolo is getting, money. No, it's not far-fetched. 200 million, if we're talking about that number, I think that's the right number to go with.
So you're writing that check?
What's that?
Are you writing
I'm writing
that
check?
check?
Yeah,
Okay.
for with Lamar. Yeah. And like I said, he's 26 years old. I'm writing that check.
Okay.
For sure. I'm writing that check for sure. I'm giving the 200 million. I know a lot of people are saying that this guaranteed money is starting to ruin the NFL. I disagree because what you started, you have to finish. So with that being said, I like the number there, 200 million. Give him that money. What was the second part of your question? I'm sorry, Jay.
No, is he asking for too much, and would you write the check?
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, I definitely will. And then he definitely is not.
Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for that amount because he's probably thinking, look, I'm better than these other guys so he's kind of pricing himself where he thinks he's going to be. But there's something about the Ravens, Britt, where they don't want to come up off of that money for whatever it is. I mean, they see him every day. He's in the building every day. They know him better than anybody else around the league. But what say you, Britt? If you're the GM, are you writing that check for $200 million? Does that feel right to you, or do you think that's too much of an ask?
So is it $200 million? Well, I think Deshaun was $230, right? Fully guaranteed.
I think so. Or was it $230 or
$230?
$230.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or between $230 $250 fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm not writing that check. No. I don't mind giving you something that's total of 200, a little bit over 200 million total. Your guaranteed money, we're gonna have to sit down and have conversations about. Because sometimes that can hit you hard when it comes to cap space. However those numbers figured out, but that cap hit is ridiculous, and sometimes you just can't do other things. The thing about the Ravens, though, we know from years past, they don't invest a whole lot in their quarterbacks. I mean, their best quarterback in the last, 20 years was Joe Flacco.
Won a Super Bowl.
Good
Yeah,
player, but not.
He did win a Super Bowl, but did he primarily win it because of Joe Flacco, or did they also have an incredible defense back then? They had incredible defenses also.
Okay defense. They beat my 49ers, so he had an okay defense.
Okay, the first Super Bowl they won. I don't remember who that quarterback
was.
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
I get your point. I was just messing with you.
Okay, all right. So we know they don't really value quarterbacks as much as other franchises do throughout the NFL. But also you don't want to stifle your franchise neither and put all the money into the quarterback situation. That's why a lot of these some quarterbacks just got overpaid, and it's unfortunate. Daniel Jones got the money he did because now you have to count for that when it comes to Lamar Jackson. I don't think any quarterback should be as paid as highly as Patrick Mahomes, and he's not even the highest paid quarterback. And I think he just decided to take a slight pay cut or something like that. I don't know if that was real or not, but that's what I heard. So I'm gonna write him a check. The total may be a little bit over 200. But that guaranteed will not, because we want to win Super Bowls. And my thing with Lamar Jackson is, as much as I like him and I appreciate that he values himself so high, for all those who's watching, value yourself that high, he does not stay healthy enough for me. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I love Lamar Jackson, but he don't stay healthy enough.
Yeah, the health is definitely a concern. And I think you're right, Britt. The Ravens are probably okay with a number that's big, but it's got to be the guaranteed money that they're squabbling about because of the injury history. It's hard to guarantee that kind of money for somebody. So we'll keep watching. It's kind of like a soap opera, man. These guys just every day.
I won't disrespect them though. The Ravens are disrespecting this man.
Yeah,
I won't do that.
Yeah, it's unprecedented. There's never been a quarterback at his level that has accomplished the things that he's done that's been treated this way. So it's definitely unprecedented for sure. All right, good stuff, guys. We're getting close to the end here, so let's jump over to our rants and our Who's Ballin' segment. We're going to start with the rants first this week. Let me look at you guys. Which one of you guys looks like you're ready to go first? K-Walk. I'm kind of fired up to hear your rant tonight. You gave us a little preview about what it's going to be about. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, each week we give a rant. You get 1 minute just to say what's on your heart, get whatever's on your chest off. It could be positive. It could be negative. You just get 1 minute to just let it all go. K-Walk, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Look at Britt. Look at Britt. Britt's
sitting back already.
She already knows. But Britt is not what you think.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
what are you talking about? I'm looking for my rant on my spreadsheet.
Okay. All right. It looked like you got your stance, Britt.
Yeah, I know you did, right?
No, this is my stance.
Okay, that's
my rant is about Joel Embiid. All right, Joel Embiid, I get what you're doing, brother. Listen, man. You played against the other night against the Suns, and you scored 32 points, had 13. I can't remember the exact number. And then you come out, and then you not play against the Denver Nuggets, who's the number one team in the Western Conference. Then you got against Jokic, who's your guy, the guy that you have to go up against, meaning from the MVP standpoint. Listen, you flaked out, man. You flaked out. I'm sorry, brother. I love you. I talk, and you guys can replay this, and you know that I love Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid, man, you flaked out, man. You can't do that. You only play against this guy twice a year, and we know load management. We know how that works. We know that load management is there. Yeah, you held out James Harden to make it seem like, well, James Harden held out as well to take a little tension away from yourself. That was a smart move. But listen. You got to go against this guy, man, and you got to put up the numbers you put up against the previous game, to show that you are an MVP type guy, man. And he's come out and said, what did he say? That there's no pressure on me. Why should the pressure on me? I haven't won anything. No pressure is put on anybody. The only pressure that's put on someone is yourself. So if you don't put any pressure on yourself, then there's no pressure on you. Brother, but you know what? We're looking at you, man. We're looking at you. We need you to go up head-to-head against this guy, man. So with that being said, don't flake out. And what you got play? Who you guys play tomorrow, Britt? They play the Mavericks? Don't show up. Don't show up against that Mavericks game. Do not suit up against the Mavericks. Do not play against the Suns. Sit out against the Nuggets and then play against the Mavs. Because I'm not buying it, brother. And you have my support as far as being the MVP. But you flake out against the best, man.
All right, your minute is over.
Like, you know, like, we gotta go on time. K-Wall went into overtime there. Yeah. All right, K-Wall, good stuff, man. Good stuff there. All right, Britt, I'm gonna let you go next. You got something ready to go? Did you find your rant?
I didn't really have a rant, but I guess I'll go back at K-Walk a little bit. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't, because my mama always said, "Don't argue with fools." Like you just don't go.
Really? I'm a fool now. I'm a fool.
Whoa!
You don't argue with fools. No. Look, this is what I gotta say. I'll respond to it. Really, do we really believe that Joel Embiid is afraid of Jokic? Like, are we serious here? If I can recall. You walk away because no, I'm right. If I can recall, the last time they played, Joel Embiid dropped 50 on Jokic. I think he has like a 5-2, 5-3 record against Jokic. He's not worried about Jokic. Let him do what he does, whether he plays next game or not. Right now, all I care about is you need to be right when the playoffs come, because as we've seen the last 2 years, has he been healthy the last 2 years in the playoffs? No. The team, believe it or not, and this I do know for sure because y'all know I'm in the Philadelphia area. I follow this team. I know a lot of stuff that's going on with this team. If they tell him to sit out and he fights as hard as he can, he sits out. So this man is not flicking out against no Jokic. This man ain't scared of Jokic. Y'all are bugging. So, but you can have that. Have that little nonsense you want to go on with. Go ahead. Next.
All right. That was that was what I expected. Y'all going at each other. All right. My rant is a little bit more on the positive side, guys. I know we talked about it earlier in the show, but I do want to shout out women's basketball because there's been so much criticism from people that probably don't watch a whole lot of women's basketball. They talk about, oh, it's not good quality. Oh, I can't watch it. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to watch it. Like I said earlier, the fan support has been great. The TV ratings have been high. And probably most importantly, the play on the court has been absolutely outstanding. So just shout out to all the women who are playing college basketball right now. You guys are putting on an absolute show. So we definitely appreciate that. So that's all I got for my rant. Let's just roll right into our Who's Ballin'.
Whoever said that, you're smoking too much and you're drinking too much. Lay off of it. Okay, switch to some vegan options.
I'm telling you, I see it a lot. And you know, there's a lot of people on TikTok that don't know what they're talking about, but I see it a lot on TikTok. I see it a lot of other places. People just dogging the women's game for no reason. But anyway.
NBA guys have come out and said, well, they're retired nowadays. They said they prefer, and you see them now at the women's basketball games. They prefer to watch the women play. These are NBA guys saying this. They play in the league. Why? Because they play the game right.
Yeah.
So if you understand basketball, then you understand.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah. I absolutely enjoy it. All right, let's go to Who's Ballin', guys. Every week we want to shout out a team, a player, coach, somebody just who's been absolutely getting it done. Britt, I'm going to start with you. Who you got this week? Who's balling?
I'm balling. I've been killing this show. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's see. No, you know what? I wanted to do Caitlin Clark. I was going to shout her out, but I said, you know what? The last couple of weeks, I think I've been shouting out women's basketball. I said, let me switch it over to men's basketball now. I got to do Miami's guard, Jordan Miller. You know, he shot 7 for 7 from the field, 13 from 13 from the free throw line. I think he dropped 27 points in that 88-81 victory over Houston to advance to the Final Four. A historic performance, the first time someone was perfect from the field since, I think, was it Christian Laettner from Duke in 92. So it's really only the second time this really has happened, guys. Jordan Miller was balling. That's another reason why I chose Miami. I forgot about that.
Yeah, good call there. K-Walk, who you got, man? Who's balling this week?
Yeah, man, I'm going to give a little different shout out. I'm going to shout out to the Uniondale High School baseball team. My son plays for them.
Okay.
They won their first game yesterday against crosstown rivals Hempstead, 11-0. Went out tonight and beat another a rival, Westbury, 16-3.
Oh, nice.
Those guys are on fire. They're focused. The coach is awesome, man. Santilli there. They have great defense, great pitching as well. So with that being said, the Uniondale Knights baseball team, boys baseball team, has been balling.
Good stuff. Hey, K-Walk, your son is a senior, right? Is he a senior?
He's a senior, man. He's
Okay.
a senior. My youngest son is a senior. Don't talk about my age. Please don't do that.
No, that's good stuff, man. That's fun for sure. I know we talked about them a lot tonight, but I do want to shout out South Carolina women's basketball. People don't realize how hard it is to go undefeated, especially in basketball. You can just have a bad night and lose a game or two. So for them to be undefeated, trying to complete this season undefeated in the Final Four, the way they play on both ends of the floor, I don't think you can give Dawn Staley enough credit. South Carolina women's basketball, absolutely balling. All right, guys, we got to get out of here.
Jay, real quick, I'm sorry. Can I
go for it.
Well, first we got to shout out Caitlin Clark because that was a phenomenal performance. A 40-point triple double. It's never been done in any NCAA tournament. So shout out her. But I got to shout out. K-Walk, you might like this. These people have been elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Dwayne Wade,
Just saw that.
Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol, Greg Pop. I thought he was already in there, but we know now. Greg Pop, Becky Hammond. I think that's Tony Parker. All been elected. They were balling in their career, and congratulations to them.
Yeah, all good choices too. Like every single one of those. Like you can't say anything about any one of those guys. So all good choices for sure. All right, Britt, let the people know where to find you and if you're looking forward to anything this week.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Britne Monique is right there on the bottom of my screen there. What I'm looking forward to is Final Four time, national championship time. Come on, Gamecocks. Let's get it. Let's go South Carolina. And also, I had to wear in honor of FloJo, Florence Griffin Joyner. It's track season. Penn Relays is right around the corner. So I'm also looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, good stuff. K-Walk knows all about them Penn Relays. Get out there and get it done at the Penn Relays.
4x4.
Yeah, Britt, I'm with you. I can't wait for the basketball this weekend. Definitely looking forward to that. And I do love track season as well. That is definitely a sport that I can sit and watch whenever they have it on TV. So definitely looking forward to that. You guys can find me at Jason Talk Sports on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. K-Walk, let the people know where they can catch up with you at.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Final Four for both men's and women's for sure. Baseball season opening day starts on Thursday for sure. So looking forward to that. You can catch me on Instagram, Kevin.Walker 142, Twitter at Kevin Walker 142, and of course Facebook Kevin Walker, and then as Britt mentioned at the Sideline Speaks as well. And tomorrow night, you catch me live with my buddy, Mr. E. Scott, Sports Talk with K-Walk and E. Scott on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. It'll be on those platforms I just mentioned. The link will be there. Click onto it to listen or call in to chime in as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to Saturday, April 1st. That's April Fool's Day. I was called a fool today. I was called a fool to stay on the show. So April Fool's Day. So I'm coming at you. Right?
I mean, April you did say early April Fool's joke. So
April Fool's
Day. That was definitely
an
April Fool's joke.
Fool's Day is on the 1st. I was called a fool. So that's my day, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you started it early.
Oh, man. That was funny. All right. Good stuff, K-Walk. Man, I was going to say something. And then, when you said that, I forgot what I was going to say. All right. Good stuff, guys. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Sideline Speaks. Check us out on all those platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're all over the place now, guys. So tune in, like, share, subscribe. We're trying to grow this thing as much as we can. So we appreciate your help. And we'll be back here next Tuesday live. We'll talk NCAA basketball, we will have our champion, so it'll be a great show next week. We'll see you then. So for Britne Jones and Kevin Walker, I'm Jason Collins, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go, South Carolina. Rise of a new dawn. Don't let me down.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Britne Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.